"Excuse me, ma'am, you forgot something," a voice called behind her as she rushed toward the door, her face pale, her hands trembling. She turned around slowly, shame burning in her cheeks. I'm sorry. I'll just go," she whispered. But the man didn't accuse her. He didn't call security. He didn't even raise his voice. Instead, he handed her a receipt and said, "It's taken care of. Please, just eat something today." She looked at him, stunned, and before she could say a word, he was already gone. That moment would change everything. It had started like just another gloomy Tuesday in the heart of Chicago. Clouds hung low over the city, thick with spring rain that hadn't fallen yet. Inside Eli's diner, a modest, old-fashioned joint with red booths and silver tables, a man named Darren Cole wiped down tables with practiced care. Darren was 34. A single father of a 6-year-old girl named Lila, he juggled 2 part-time jobs and an online college course he was somehow still managing to pass. Life hadn't given Darren many breaks. His wife, Marissa, had died from an aneurysm 3 years ago, leaving him to raise their daughter alone. He didn't complain. He couldn't afford to. Lila was the reason he woke up every morning. But even the strongest hearts have their heavy days. That morning, he had kissed Lila on her forehead before school and promised her pancakes on Saturday. He didn't know that promise would come back to him later in the most unexpected way. Around 1:20 p.m., the bell above the diner's door jingled. A woman walked in, late 20s, early 30s, wearing a worn gray sweater and jeans that had seen better days. Her dark hair was pulled into a messy bun, and her eyes were tired, like someone who hadn't slept through the night in weeks. Her name was Emily Torres. Darren noticed her right away. Not because she stood out, but because she didn't. She looked like someone trying not to be noticed, someone running on fumes. She slid into the back booth and stared at the menu without flipping it. He approached her gently. "Hi there. Can I get you started with something? Water, coffee maybe?" Emily blinked, like the question startled her. Then she nodded. "Water's fine." He brought it, and she hesitated before ordering the cheapest thing on the menu, grilled cheese with fries. She ate slowly. Darren watched from the counter. Something about the way she held herself, the way she barely looked up, pulled at something inside him. It reminded him of himself, during the first month after Marissa passed. That sense of floating through the day, not knowing what came next. When Emily finished, she reached into her purse, and froze. Her fingers searched once. Then again. She swallowed hard. "No, no, no," she muttered under her breath. Her purse was nearly empty. Her face turned pale. Darren approached slowly. She looked up, stricken. "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice cracking. I thought I had cash. My card's not here. I must have dropped it or... I don't know. I can't pay for this." She stood, panicked. "I'll leave. I'm not trying to steal. I'm sorry." Darren gently held up a hand. "You're okay," he said softly. "Just sit." She blinked at him, confused. He smiled once. "I got it. Don't worry." Before she could protest, he walked away and paid for the meal out of his own pocket, $10.75. It was all he had left from the tip jar that day. But he didn't care. By the time he returned, Emily was standing near the door, ready to run out in shame. He handed her the receipt with quiet finality. "Next time," he said kindly, "just bring your smile." And then he disappeared into the kitchen. Emily stood there for a moment, frozen, the paper in her hand crinkling. Her eyes welled up. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. She'd lost her job at the bookstore 3 weeks ago after it closed. Her mother had passed just 2 months earlier, and she was drowning in funeral debt. Rent was due. Her car had been towed last week. And she had come into that diner today not out of hunger, but out of desperation to feel normal, even for 10 minutes. She left quietly, but that single act stayed with her. The next morning, Darren woke up to a text from Lila's school. She had a fever. He rushed to pick her up, took her to the clinic, and missed his second job that night. He didn't complain. He held Lila's hand while she dozed and hummed her favorite song softly, the way Marissa used to. The doctor said it was a virus. Nothing serious. But Darren didn't sleep much that night. The next day, things got harder. The manager at the diner told him his hours were getting cut due to fewer customers. Darren nodded, smiled, and went right back to work. 2 weeks later, Emily returned. She wore the same sweater. But something had changed in her. She asked for Darren. He wasn't working that shift, but the hostess offered to take a message. Emily left a small envelope with just his name written on it. When Darren came in that evening, he opened it slowly. Inside was a short note. "Thank you for your kindness. That day, you didn't just give me lunch. You reminded me that not everyone gives up on you when you fall. That night, I made a decision. I called an old friend from college. I started over. I got help. This isn't much, but I want you to know, you mattered. You mattered to me." And inside the envelope was $100 in cash. Darren stared at it, stunned. He never expected anything in return. He didn't even know her name. Weeks passed. The diner stayed quiet. Life trudged on. Darren picked up a night job at a gas station. Lila got better. He barely had time to breathe. Then one morning, the manager burst into the diner with wide eyes. "Hey, Darren. You're not gonna believe this." A woman had posted online about a single dad waiter who paid her meal when she couldn't. The post had gone viral. Thousands of shares. People demanding to know who the man was. The kindness had touched hearts across the country. Within days, reporters were calling. Donations started pouring in. The diner even started a fund to support Darren and Lila. Someone recognized him. A regular at the diner. Before he knew it, Darren was being interviewed live. And Emily? She finally came back. This time with a new coat, a confident walk, and a spark in her eyes. She hugged him tight. "I never forgot," she whispered. "Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't even see myself." Months later, Darren had enough to finally quit his second job. He spent more time with Lila. He used the rest of the money to start a small food cart outside a park. He called it Marissa's Kitchen, in honor of his late wife. Emily started working at a local nonprofit, helping other women like her get back on their feet. One day, as Lila sat by the cart munching on pancakes, she looked up at her dad and asked, "Why did you help that lady if you didn't even know her?" Darren smiled gently. "Because sometimes, sweetie," he said, "the smallest kindness can be the biggest lifeline. And when you have a chance to be someone's lifeline, you don't wait." And that, dear viewers, is how a $10 grilled cheese sandwich changed 2 lives forever. Because kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about quiet moments, when no one is looking, where a heart chooses compassion over judgment. And sometimes, the person you lift up, is the one who helps you rise higher than you ever imagined. Never underestimate what a small act of kindness can do. Someone out there needs it more than you'll ever know.